Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, 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 bum. This is the Begode Blitz, developed for racing. This outclasses the Lynx on most race tracks. So the reasons would be stability. That's kind of the number one thing. I can take corners and break into corners and feel a little bit safer and more stable on this wheel than I can on the Lynx. The Lynx is the one I'm comparing it to. I know a lot of people race the Commander Pro. The Commander Pro has a lot of the same pluses as this wheel, but it does not have the lightness or the acceleration that this wheel has. So if you're taking those things into account, those are minuses as far as race track performance would go. The lights are, I don't know, not race specific, but they don't really deter. If you actually check how big, they're little tiny circuit boards, they're very light, and it frickin' looks cool. I mean, it looks, even the headlight has that going on for it. So if you're looking for a cool looking wheel, that does it also. The light on the front of this actually works really well also, even though that is another thing that is not important for the racetrack. But look at the light. It's a thin light. Since we're on lights, this thing has a lot of lights. If you weigh the pedals, they're light. If you check to see like what this is compared to the ET Max, this is some sort of, I don't know, they use fancy words like carbon infused nylon. I think that actually might be right. But it is a lightweight, high strength material that's also pretty impact resistant, as I've already tested a few times. And yeah, it doesn't stop there. I mean, wherever they could save weight on this thing, they did. But the impact of the motor and rim combination was sort of the most glaring difference that you could really feel. So when you're trying to accelerate something, you've got acceleration coming in the form of your change in inertia in the direction you're moving, but you're also adding energy to the rotational inertia of the wheel. This wheel motor combination weighs a decent amount less. I didn't actually weigh things out than the other competitors to it. The C40 specifically is kind of a pig, but it's the most high torque, high speed wheel. I know they call it a high torque motor, but it's actually, when the voltage gets up there, everything's off the table. It becomes a high-speed motor. So the voltage on this is 134.4 volts, and it uses those 134.4 volts vigorously. So that'll take us to one of the minuses, which is take this thing to the racetrack and you will kill the battery. I did. I had a full charge, got to the racetrack in the morning, and by the time I left, I was on tilt back. So still doing decent laps around the track as best I could, but yeah, the battery was definitely low. But you can also see another design element that was thought out. See how those pedal scrapes are even all the way from the front to the back of this particular contour on the pedal? That's pretty cool in my book. That means that the real estate on the top of the pedal is maximized and the scrape danger is minimized for the size that they ended up having. So the downsides, there's a few of them. So I hit battery life already, but the display on this thing, it looks kind of cool, futuristic and compact and all, but you can't really see it, can't make much use of it. But there are some things that may be on the way that might get publicized here shortly. I'll go ahead and say what it is. So I spoke to Albert Kua and got the file for this whole piece here. So we're gonna be modifying that to do two things. Thing number one is move the display from where it is now to on top of the headlight and have it pointed slightly forward. So you'll actually maybe be able to see it while you're riding, but more importantly, all of this part is out of the way when you're riding. That part does bug. It gets in the way. It gets in my way, and it would be nice if it didn't, but it does. Let's see. Then there is the suspension. One thing that confuses me is when you get this wheel, these two motor bolts, you can't see them. The reason you can't see them is because there's 3/4 of an inch of suspension travel that is taken away. There is a suspension blocker that is installed behind this thing. So you take off the pedal hanger, you take off one bolt that goes through, and then, I don't know, there were a few other bolts in there. And then this little metal piece pops out and will let the suspension get its full travel. Why was it in there to begin with? I don't know. I didn't like the wheel all that much while it was in there. After it got removed, everything on this was better. I was able to corner faster because I was no longer scraping pedals as readily as I was before. And my off-road fun, specifically, I mean, the stair test that I did on this thing when we left the parking garage after intro to speed, everybody goes down level to level to level. But when I was racing my Lynx, I was like, I'm taking the stairs, and I did it, and you'd go clunk, 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 and then you'd kind of have to set up and take the next set of stairs. On this thing, I did not have to worry about setting up. I was able to reposition everything and kind of lean into the turn on the stairs as I was going down. I had more control on this wheel than I did on the Lynx for, I know it's on-road, but I'm gonna call that an off-road test. It was excellent. So the suspension blocker, it shouldn't have been there when it shipped. That was kind of a weird thing for them to choose to do. A thing that they did that I do like is this wheel comes with no pads. I like that it comes with no pads because I use my pads. And if it came with pads, they would stay in the box and I wouldn't use them, and that would be added expense. Came with the Velcro. I didn't have to peel off this stuff and put it on there. Not a huge deal, because if they include it in the box, I'm happy enough. Suspension unit itself. It's an oil air shock with 2 chambers, and I've been able to get it adjusted pretty darn good. However, it does seem to be losing air with time. So not thrilled about that, but it is what it is. Lastly, the only real issue I've had with this wheel is I got a flat tire, but not a flat tire from getting a hole in something or whatever, but the original valve, it just like cracked. It was like a rubber neck thing that went there, and it was jammed up against this spot. So in the end, I took some bolt cutters, I cut it off, pulled it out, pushed the tire aside, and installed this without even taking the motor off of the wheel. Also threw in some tire sealant for good measure. People worry about tubeless tire setups. I think they are more reliable, and I'm glad that I've got that set up on here. So I guess to sum up, this wheel is a real deal race wheel, and I think we're going to see a lot of people in upcoming races not just riding this wheel, but lifting it up onto the podium with them. And if you do get one, make sure you leave this sticker on there and then post a picture of it and tag Marty Backey, because he loves those stickers. Anyway, if you got any questions, hit me up directly, put something in the comments. If you want to buy this wheel, you can help fund the eWheels race team by using the link that I have here in the description. If you would rather buy a Sherman L, I'll have the link in there, but that is another amazing wheel that feels incredibly stable. I'm beginning to wonder if I should still be pushing the links the way I've been pushing the links for an off-road wheel. I'd like to do a little bit more testing with this one. I haven't really crashed this thing. I've crashed the links pretty good. It survives pretty well. This seems like it's going to do okay, but I don't know if it seems as durable as the links, but I don't know. There's just a couple elements towards the back here that make me question. The front seems fine, but yeah, this is a keeper. So the wheels I've loved in recent time: Sherman L, the Blitz, the Falcon. The M10.5 is awesome, but I don't know, it's a little big and heavy. If you want a super tiny wheel, the M10 Mini is a little too anemic. I'd still go M10, I don't know, M10.4 to M10.5. That's a tough one. Somebody needs to make a smaller, powerful wheel that's about the size of the M10 Mini and is not a 40-volt wheel. Anyway, the Blitz, I would put this on the buy it category if you plan on spending any time on a racetrack. All right, so we'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you at the racetrack. Bye-bye.